I'm back in the studio after a pretty much 10-year dance hiatus. Whew. And it's a lot. It is a different story as an adult, and I want to take some time here to just share some honest feelings. 10-second background is I used to dance. I injured myself severely, and now I am a dance movement specialist. I work with dancers every day, and you might think that I've been taking class regularly or getting back into the studio is a breeze and not scary and has no mental or physical challenges to it because of the knowledge that I have working with dancers. Yes, this is true. There are things that I know about alignment, about injury prevention, about how the body works, how my body works. I've spent the last 10 years working on that, but when I say I have probably been in a ballet class 5 times in the last 10 years, that might be being generous. And honestly, in the last 4 or 5 years, not at all. So why have I not been in the studio? Well, I am gonna be really honest here. The mental insecurities that can be so real to everyone, no matter your age, no matter the level you are, no matter how long you've been in the dance industry, is real. It's so real. So coming into class, there's been 2 sides to this. One is I have a past injury, and there's been a lot of ups and downs with it, actually 2 past injuries. And when I got over one to a point where I felt like dancing could be possible on a regular basis, I did something to my back, and it has been an up and down few years with that. And if working with bodies has taught me one thing, it's to be aware and be honoring of what's happening in my body. So I haven't gone into class, but there has been a huge mental component, and I'm gonna be super honest about this. I work with all levels of dancers, and I make changes in their dancing with their work and help. But there has been a mental block for me to go into some of these highly competitive studios as an adult dancer and feel like I'm being judged for the technique or level that I'm at now. And I think that sums up so many of the adult dancers that come in and see me. They express that they're afraid of being judged, being compared to, being addressed as a young dancer who's been in this forever. And I get that. So there has been a huge mental block for me to get in the studio. That's probably the biggest thing. So this summer, I decided that I was going to make the long-term commitment, meaning more than just I'm gonna go take a ballet class, but I'm gonna make the commitment to start taking class. Then a studio opened up so conveniently, really close to me, but honestly, I would have drove for this studio for these teachers. But finding an environment that I felt, it sounds cheesy, but safe in, was the defining factor in me coming back into dancing. And I think that that's really important for any dancer to find, whether you're young or an adult, but especially for adults when there is so much judgment coming at you, mostly from yourselves. And there's a lot of imposed judgments that are happening, whether we know them or not. So finding a studio that can support you and you personally feel good and safe in, now it's gonna be different for everyone, but finding that is a game changer. And that was the game changer that happened for me. So let's talk about now what happened in the first 4 weeks of taking class. So week 1, leading up to week 1 was make sure my body was physically prepared. And that did not mean for me stretching or taking ballet or practicing. It meant that my back and hip felt good. So I was doing exercises that would fall into like PT or cross training. And going into class, my number 1 goal was don't get injured. Number 2 goal was don't look in the mirror because Oh my gosh, guys, the mirror is kind of the devil. It's the devil in my brain. I have spent 10 years working on feeling what's happening in my body, working on feeling technique, teaching my dancers not to look in the mirror and to understand the sensations and where their placement and alignment is without the visual cue of the mirror. We walk in the studio and I find myself looking in the mirror and I'm thinking, what the heck, Allie? Like, this is not what you want. Dancer brain is strong. So I walked into the studio, I found my spot at the bar, and I chose a place that I couldn't see in the mirror. And then more people walk in and kind of start pushing me, like they're getting close, so I'm moving away so there's more space. And I ended up in a spot that I could see myself so clearly in the mirror. And I thought, okay, this is it. It's totally fine. So went through class with the goal of feeling secure in my hip and back. For me, those are my weak points. I know, and I tell my dancers that you cannot have multiple priorities. Priority is one thing. So I had to make the priority. What does this like belly button to hip area feel like? And am I doing all the things that I know will make this feel okay? So I went through class with that focus and I kind of surprised myself, mostly because I have grown up in the dance world being young. I did not walk away unscathed from the dance world. Eating food relationship, the self beat up, the mental abuse you put on yourself, as well as things from the dance world, that was very strong in my head. And it has taken me years to shed some of that stuff. And in prior years, I've actually walked into a studio. Like I said, I've taken 4 or 5 dance classes in the last 10 years. And it was mentally toxic. The feeling could be suffocating, like actually physically feeling suffocated. It was terrible. But this time, years later, lots of work later, this first class was pretty successful. Now, let's be clear, there were a million things that did not go well. My feet, I don't even know if my feet were pointed. My arabesque is not high. I have not worked on flexibility in years. It's not a goal of mine. But what has been a goal is really great alignment and my labral tear feeling excellent. And I got through class without my hip hurting, my back hurting. I even surprised myself with a couple pirouettes, balances, hip alignment as I did a ronde jump. I surprised myself pleasantly. And part of that was my mindset. Actually, probably all of it was my mindset, because that starting point is where it is, we'll say. It's where it is. And in a year, I'm going to look back and say, wow, there's been so much growth. But starting at that point, mentally being able to walk away and say, that felt good. There were things that went well. I think we need that. And that's something that doesn't happen in ballet. We are so focused on all the things that go wrong. And we don't embody the feelings of this was successful. This element was successful. So I walked away on a small high. The next day, my feet and calves killed me. Oh my gosh. But again, pleasantly surprised and happy that my 2 weakest points and injuries in the past felt fine. So second week going into class, I felt really confident, like first class went so well. And then second class did not go that well. I think that there was a little bit of adrenaline in that first class that helped, kind of hold you together. And the second class did not go that well, but I still had the same focuses in week to week. In 4 weeks, it has not changed. Don't look in the mirror and make sure that your body feels good at all costs. if I have to come off a releve, if I'm not pointing my toe, if I miss a step in the combination, if I need to be slower, at all costs, my goal is to enjoy dance and not let the Allie voice or the trained dancer Allie voice kick in, because Allie voice now would never speak that poorly to her, but Allie voice from 17, 18, 20 as a professional dancer, oh gosh, it was just so sad. Week 3 was a duet. There were 2 of us in class. And again, so proud of my mindset, because I recognized the moment I walked in that studio and I saw only one other person, and I'm looking at the clock and like, okay, it's gonna start. Again, past Allie would have said, I have to be even better because there's only 2 of us and the teacher's eyes are going to be on me half of the time, right? No, I took a breath and said, I know I'm in a safe environment. I know I have found teachers that are supportive and that know where I am and what my goals are. And my goal is not to be a professional dancer. And even if it was, that's a different conversation, but the same conversation to Allie, myself. So we did a duet, and it was one of the best classes I've had. And I noticed that a lot of the corrections that both of us were getting were just to trust the steps. And that was so good for my brain and my soul, because although I do not have high legs, flexibility, feet, the list could go on of things that you could be looking at me and being like, what is she doing? There are things, there's 10 years worth of experiences. Well, there's 32 plus years of experience, but these last 10 years of work were not for nothing. I have been doing work outside of the studio to have more awareness, to understand my body, to understand Allie life. And that showed up there, and the teacher was able to say, like, just trust yourself. And when I got out of the dancer brain of like, am I in perfect alignment? And I just turned or I just stepped, things went a lot better. So that was very insightful and very helpful. And then going into week 4, I started to think, okay, I've been doing this, 3 weeks. I'm professional. No, not that. But I started to think, should I be changing my goals? And no, Allie, no, you should not be changing your goals. I am taking class 1 time a week. I, even though know that things are not going to change that quickly, I had to have a conversation with myself and say, it's not going to progress that quickly taking class 1 time a week. And again, the goal is to enjoy class and have your body be healthy. So I had this mental thing where I was starting to skip ahead and say, oh, I should be working on different goals. I should be evolving. And I took a step back and said, no. 4 hours of work for a lifetime of happy, healthy body, mental state, enjoying dance is not that much. That's like a drop in the barrel. So let's keep it together, Allie. So that was my first 4 weeks of going back to ballet and knowing that I'm gonna do it more than just 1 class. Over the last several months, I have had an extremely high volume of adult dancers, both working privately and teaching for summer intensives. So we hit the hundreds, multiple hundreds of adult dancers that I was seeing in a very short time period. And I realized as I got the opportunity to sit and talk with them, and one of the opportunities I had was I lived with these people for 4 days. And so we ate meals together, we worked together, we did all of these dance experiences. And I realized that so much of their fears were still my fears and vice versa. And it was eye-opening that what they were saying and sharing their experiences was helping me work through my crap. And then what I had to say, they were like, wait, you experienced that too? I was like, heck yes, I do. We're all human. Doesn't matter where we've been or what we've learned. We all have these similar experiences. So much of what I choose to do and why I spend time on social media and doing what I do is because I want to leave the dance world a better place. And there has been a kind of a side to me and what I share that I have not made public. Not like there's a deep, dark secret, but I just haven't dove into what my own personal experience has really been in the past and what I'm going through now. I'm gonna share a little bit more. Don't know if this is your cup of tea. I'm okay with that, but I do think there's gonna be one dancer out there that resonates and takes comfort and makes a brave step in the dance world to take class, or starts demanding a different level of respect from themselves or from the teachers, or searches out to make a change in the dance world. And that's my ultimate goal. That's why I do what I do. It's honestly not because I love dance culture. So there's a lot of things that don't work in the dance world, and it has taken years to mentally change some of the things, and I still have work to do. So here I am.